Welcome back, everybody. You got Will and I, man, here from the Block Runner MetaZone Roving Amscribe, and today we're going to be talking about some
Ordinals
and conflict
and
misunderstandings.
But Bitcoin's up though, so it doesn't
All
matter.
is
dude.
good.
Yeah, it's an interesting time, dude. So Bitcoin, finally, we're getting some God candle action in response to some macro events, I guess. So this is like
the
very
Fed,
boring stuff.
The Fed decided to cut 50 basis points.
Wowzers.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, this is actually a pretty big cut.
Yeah,
But
I know.
like absolutely a small change.
Yeah, I mean, so now people can, I guess, borrow more effectively, right? That means more.
Yeah, cheap money is cheaper.
Yeah, more capital into these markets, more capital to like spin up business and such and enterprise, and theoretically, numbers go up across the board in reaction to that, including Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Right? Which is very cool. It's cool for all of us, right? We like to see Bitcoin go up.
Yeah, for sure.
So
and I mean, it's kind of due, right? Bitcoin has to go up assuming it follows the same pattern for the last 12 years.
yeah, we probably should have pulled up some rainbow charts just to reinforce that sentiment. Maybe you can.
Dude, I got rainbow charts already saved up, dude.
On deck, like
yeah,
literally.
I mean, not really on deck, but it's close enough.
It's close to the deck where you could just retrieve at will.
Yeah.
Here it is.
I mean, I look at this on a regular basis.
Yeah, so this is
here's a rainbow. Look at that. It's beautiful.
Definitely the most sound model in existence. You can't ever go against this rainbow, dude.
No, I mean, it's been on point, right?
Okay, so we're still, dude,
this is nasty.
It's been a lot of blue. So basically, we've been like in a 2-year period of just like buy opportunity. Yeah. So why do you say it's like we're due? What makes you think that?
Guess what happened last cycle, right? It's like, hey, I man, we're due. It's like, yeah, we are. It's like, boom, it goes to red. Right?
So when
and then here it is, like, hey, I man, we're due again. It's like, boom, yes, we are red.
Well, we definitely weren't saying that. We weren't even like around those days. But let's go with September of 2020. Right? Because that's literally 4 years ago.
Yeah, right here.
Where we at? Where's September?
Hold on, let me zoom in. September.
Right there, dude.
Yeah, here it is.
So, yeah, I remember
10 grand.
Around this time 4 years ago, we were like in Decentraland. NFTs were still, I mean, Top Shots was out, I think. Or no, Top Shots was like a month into the future where they blew up.
Yeah, in October.
Yeah, but still, it's like everyone had these same expectations. Like, dude, happened. It's like Bitcoin's any minute now. It's gonna just explode, right?
Yeah, I remember. Dude, go back to the podcast.
Conversations. Yeah,
I was like, we're hanging out at $9,000. I said that like week after week.
You did. He's like, don't you think that's weird? I was like, I don't know. It's okay, I guess. It's whatever, dude. It's Bitcoin. I don't care. I'm so bored of Bitcoin. We're here in Ethereum metaverse land, right? That's what's interesting. Right?
I was like, dude, you're not paying attention, dude.
Yeah. Okay. So a couple months later, it's just like the whole journey of only go up started.
Yeah.
Right?
And you're like, wow, I guess everyone else is right. We are going to 100K.
Me?
You said that. I remember that. It's like, wow, we're actually going to 100K.
I guess.
And then we did not.
Okay. Well, this is why we don't trust the rainbow chart anymore, dude. It lied to us. It said the red zone, dude. That's where you sell.
Right. But I mean, it kind of did get there, but we just weren't paying attention.
Yeah, I guess. Okay.
So anyway, so what does that have to do with today? Well, eventually it's gonna go up at some point, right? And then if it hits the yellow, we're talking about over 130 grand.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's just history rhymes, right? So here we are 4 years into the future from that point 4 years ago where it actually did.
Yeah.
When we were questioning is like if Bitcoin has to go up, right? And it actually did go up. And so it's like it's likely we're at that same like inflection moment in time. That's why these like macro situations, whenever they hit pretty hard.
Yeah.
Right? Because they act as like market catalysts.
It's like we're starting, guys, right? It's
yeah.
like
it's
time to go, right?
It's like it's
like,
definitely a pile on. It's a, what do you call that? Self-fulfilling prophecy, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then even the most bullish here, Donald Trump.
Yeah, let's see what
he's a Bitcoiner, dude, officially.
Let's see what happened here. So Trump is holding what looks like to be a cell phone. Some advanced technology.
Yeah, he's having a little bit of issues though, like conducting this transaction. So, all right, you.
And someone else is holding a bigger cell phone called a tablet.
Yeah, you millennials figure this out, dude, because this is not very user friendly. It appears.
All right, it's buffering. Internet is slow. It says it went through. The other gentleman is like confirming.
All right.
People are celebrating the first Bitcoin transaction ever.
By president.
By president.
No, wait. Maybe it didn't go through.
Wait a minute.
Oh, it did go through.
Oh, wait, it
All
did.
right, we're done. Perfect.
All right.
First transaction by a president on the Bitcoin protocol.
All right. You can see the glee on Trump's face. History.
Hello, everybody. I got to go back and see the.
All right. Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Go fuck
Moving on.
yourselves. So that was great. That was definitely a moment in history if that's ever been recorded. Right there along the lines of him almost being like decapitated. Right there, dude. Fucking
Wait, who got decapitated?
Donald Trump almost getting decapitated.
Oh, right.
It's like this history, like in the future is like
Right there.
failed assassination attempt and then Bitcoin transaction. Right? So that's as a result of that number go up, right?
Yeah.
Let's do it, dude. Let's fucking go.
Yeah.
It's not just Bitcoin, guys. We got Bitmaps too.
Bitmaps are up 25%.
Yeah, it's interesting. So this is what markets do, right? It's just like injection of like fucking vibes and, energy, right? So
Yeah.
like all the other like tertiary asset classes, like
Yeah.
time to wake up, guys. We got business to do.
Yeah. Let's make the number go up.
So what's that business, dude? Help me understand. I see number go up for this bitmap thing.
Yeah.
It's climbing up the charts on Magic Eden and such. It's like this is a hot ordinal.
Yeah. So let me do some research on Bitmap.
Yeah, what is it?
All of a sudden, it's like, who are these block runner guys? And why
Yeah.
do they have 50 videos on Bitmap?
Correct.
It must be something interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and they started a year ago, right? So there should be something by now, right? Something I could jump into and start understanding, I guess, like the value proposition of a bitmap.
Yeah, and why non-arbitrary metaverse is different, has a different proposition.
Yeah, so there's a lot of things obviously to like learn and understand for sure.
Yeah.
And so yeah, we like Will said, we got 50 videos of you to digest if you want to actually chronologically understand how it all started and how it's developed. And then we probably have 50 more videos to make into the future to continue down that like understanding pathway, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, this tweet right here is kind of like just like a bare bones. So what is Bitmap? It's simply just like a starting point for this like this whole massive exploration of this thing that's called the metaverse, right? And it's all happening on Bitcoin, never done before.
Yeah.
But obviously it requires a tremendous amount of effort and technical innovation.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where we're at.
Yeah, and so you picked up on the analogy that Tom or Toom here, Thomas. Oh no, it was Thomas.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I got it right.
That's right.
Thomas
Shout
said
out Thomas.
He said that what it looks like we're doing is building a shipyard and getting it ready for the ships. And so you're using that same analogy.
Yeah.
It's like, let's not fight about the boats here. Let's actually go out and explore.
Correct. Yeah, I mean, this analogy just cannot leave my head for whatever reason. But it's just because I see it like this. Here's the dock of Bitmap, and there's just all these ships that have been being built. But instead of like onboarding onto them and setting sail, it's just we're shooting arrows and lighting them on fire. So it's like that's what I see in my head at night, dude.
That's
it's
so
like,
true.
It's literally just a bunch of ships burning because everyone's just fighting each other. It's so stupid.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, so if you want to know like what's actually been happening, it's been a lot of just that, just people just shooting arrows at each other instead of like, guys, sick fucking boat over there.
Yeah,
dude.
you go this way and I'll go that way. Let's see what land we find.
Yeah, I want to see a lot more of these. Like thumbs up, sick boat, bro. And then everyone's just like,
Yeah,
just like, off to sea, dude. And then you could sink. If you sink once you're out to sea, that's
it's
your
a data point. It's like, let's not go that way.
That was the wrong boat. Guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, the fucking it got rip-tided or something. The current just took it away. Just got destroyed. Right.
Yeah.
So that's Bitmap. In case you didn't know.
All right.
But there's Ordinals, man. There's like a big dilemma discussion.
Yeah. So there's a tweet here talking about a metadata issue, and long story short, there was a couple of people, regular folks. They clicked on a bad link, and they got hacked.
Damn.
but
happens pretty frequently in this
yeah.
space. Yeah.
It's a daily occurrence.
Yeah.
And these good project owners are be like, you know what? There's something we can do about that.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to ignore those inscription IDs
Mm-hmm.
to really, penalize those hackers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It seems like a cool idea. Like, there's something, you can, fight back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it turns out that people are recognizing now that you can just edit your collections just by ignoring inscription IDs.
Yeah.
So why is this a thing? Is because of Magic Eden, the way that they work.
Mm-hmm.
That Magic Eden says, I don't care how you developed whatever collection, doesn't matter what it is, I don't care.
Mm-hmm.
You just send me the inscription IDs, send me the pictures, and then I'll list it on the marketplace and people can just go ham.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah.
And so then you do that as a creator, and then you just say, you know what? That inscription ID is actually not good because it got hacked. Doesn't matter. Just remove that. All of a sudden, your 10K collection goes down to 9,999, and then that's what's only visible, and that's what only matters because the degens don't really give a damn, right? I just want number go up and flippability, and that's it.
So this is it's just like a convoluted effort, I guess, for like some project creator, founder, whatever, to kind of like, I don't know, help out some member of the community who just was a victim of like the space. Like, so there's some good merit intention behind that, right? But nonetheless, still, there's an ethos, I guess, that's kind of like there's a collective effort to try and preserve that. Because if back in the day, Ordinals, its main differentiation between NFTs, right? Because they're essentially the same utility of like, inscribing an Ordinal for a non-fungible collection on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Use the ERC 721 protocol on Ethereum to basically do the same thing, right? Now you have collectibles on chain, but different chains, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
But the big marketing like value proposition for Ordinals, why do it the Ordinal way as opposed to the Ethereum NFT way? So you can't do this stuff, right? Because everything's fully on chain.
Yeah, that's the marketing, but it's not actually what happens. But
well,
yes,
that's why now it's like, okay, we need to preserve that because if we're sharing market space with NFTs, we need it's a differentiator, right? What makes us more, technically superior?
Yeah.
But you're saying that was not the case all along.
No, right. It never was.
Okay, because it's more so because of the facilitators of the market, right? These are the front interface providers.
Yeah,
front end interface providers.
In a market, right? You're servicing a particular profile of a user, right? Mm-hmm. The user doesn't really care about like the logistics of like how you get it listed, right? They just want to be able to set prices and flip stuff. That's it, right? But if the ethos is like, hey, you have a collection and then all of a sudden it gets edited, and so my perception and understanding of Ordinals has now shifted as a result. Yeah. Well, that's because you didn't understand how Ordinals worked to begin with, right? Yeah. This is not a surprise that you could do this, right? And it shouldn't have been.
So what do you suspect the solution to be? I mean, so people are here advocating for solutions.
Well, I just want to show this example. So our team made a decision to exclude 21 based angels from the collection as a countermeasure against a scammer, which, I see.
Like I said, good merits, right?
Yeah, good reason to do it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. People, I guess, saw this.
Yeah, read the comments, dude. It's like a straight like backlash. Like Leonidas, dude, don't do that. Right?
Wait, didn't Trevor do this too? Like on Pizza Ninja?
I don't know. Did he?
Yeah. I mean, I saw it somewhere that Trevor did the same thing.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's been multiple cases of stuff like this, but
yeah. I mean, ultimately, like, look, a user got hacked. There's nothing you can do about it, right? Just don't get hacked. Don't click on links. Don't download stuff.
You can't say that. That's gonna happen. So I already removed that from the scenarios of tomorrow.
No, there's
People
ways.
Will get hacked.
There are okay, for sure they will.
Yeah,
but there are ways where you don't get hacked. Right. You have like good hygiene, right?
But dude, my point is saying that out loud isn't going to change.
No, of course not. But as a creator of a collection, you shouldn't just edit it just because one of your guys got hacked. I mean.
So then that's the response, right? The collective response from the Ordinals communities. Guys, just don't do that, right? But then you can't. That's the same thing as saying don't get hacked, right? There's no way to guarantee like that's not going to occur. If the ability is there, it's going to happen again.
100%.
So the response is what? Parent-child is like the big technical solution to all this.
Yeah. So the response is the parent-child, and LIFO FIFO says the practical solution of Ordinal collection data issue is a governance committee made up of key stakeholders. So he's talking about a DAO.
Essentially.
Yeah, and then Casey comes in and just sack up, just use parent-child, and let's move on.
Yeah, just I guess just do it that way. So then now there's like a whole, but there's no way to enforce that either. It's
There's no way to enforce that either. So you can
Yeah.
have a 10K collection as children of like a parent asset called your company or whatever, and another user gets hacked. You could also just on the front end interface just ignore that inscription ID.
Yeah.
And then these guys are gonna say, but you're supposed to support the protocol and all this stuff. But yeah, the front end people, they don't care. They want to make money. They're just gonna do whatever you tell them to do because it's not even automated.
Yeah.
And then they're just going to make that edit because the creator said, make this edit. And then all of a sudden your 10K goes down to 9,999, even though it's a child inscription. It's like, it's the same thing is going to happen. Why? Because Magic Eden says there's other collections that fall outside of the parent-child anyway. So I got to support both paths anyways. And so I'm not going to change all my stuff just to support like this thing.
Yeah. Very interesting. Man, that's quite the division as far as like, I guess the ethos, right? So
what is my opinion? Just let it fly, dude.
Yeah.
If you're an owner of a collection and the creator of that collection starts editing stuff and starts doing stuff, sell the thing and move on. Like if you don't like that, move on.
Correct.
And that's it. Just let the invisible hand dictate what happens.
I totally agree. Yeah. I think you're 100% spot on that. So let's talk a little bit about DMT. You put out a tweet like a couple of days ago, kind of in response to all of this.
So yeah, everyone's talking about provenance, and DMT was designed with provenance kind of embedded into it. When you create a DMT collection, the whole point of it is that it's non-arbitrary. It's pointing to block data, and the way that you do that is you use crowdsourcing to discover patterns within Bitcoin called elements. You discover that pattern, you inscribe that element. Now, all of a sudden, anybody can point to that pattern and create a collection based off that pattern. So if that pattern exists within your collection, right, you're able to mint that block that is associated with that pattern. Therefore, it's valid.
Yeah.
Right? And so there is no way to get around that.
Yeah.
Right? And so now you have like recursive on-chain provenance pointing back to the underlying pattern that's within Bitcoin.
But you could still, the same front-end issues can still...
100%, yeah.
They will come up where it's like, despite the on-chain provenance of everything associated to the existence of these patterns, that's unbreakable, right? That's the whole point of the protocol, right? We're leveraging the immutability of Bitcoin and the data substrate layer itself to generate this new class of non-arbitrary assets, right?
That's right.
That is that unbreakable provenance. But still, the market providers can still
100%.
or the creators themselves, they can come in and make these like arbitrary injections and just like alter.
That's
that
already
provenance.
happened in DMT. Someone created a DMT project,
That's true.
and they're like, hey, you know what? These future DMT like assets, we're just going to ignore all of them, right? They arbitrarily ignored future occurrences of the pattern within their collection.
It's already happened.
It's like it occurred. And you know what happened? Everyone ignored what they were doing, and they just disappeared.
Correct. Yep, that's a great example. And what's going to happen to these other collections, like in the broader ordinal space, that kind of like teeter around that idea of not preserving like the ethos, I guess, of the Metaprotocol that underlies that asset itself?
Yeah,
will probably suffer the same fate, most likely.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty
so that's
simple.
it. This is free market shit, right? This is invisible hand stuff. This is like part of the whole experiments of what's happening on Bitcoin. And yeah, like everybody calm down, right?
Yeah, it's already solved. I mean,
yeah,
just let the invisible hand decide, and that's it.
Yeah, totally. So yeah, that's Ordinals. That's Bitmap. That's Bitcoin. It's interesting times, dude. So if we really are in the beginning journey of this only number go up phase for Bitcoin, I mean, these things are going to become front and centered.
Yeah,
like potential concerns, or this is going to be swept under the rug.
Absolutely a FUD vector for anyone who hates like Bitcoin, who hates Ordinals, who's like an ETH maxi or whatever like tribe that you're in. This is like the attack vector that they're going to be using.
Correct.
So expect it.
Expect it. That's good. That's a good way to end that right there.
All right, guys, that's it for us. If we miss anything, let us know in the comment section below. I appreciate you for watching. We'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.